All right, we are live. We got some caffeine in us, and we're ready to go. Um, Guys, thank you very much to everyone that's joining. The continued support, we appreciate it so much. This is what, like, eighth episode or something, and
I think so.
the last episode before our live event. So before we get started, just want to remind everybody, please like our YouTube channel, subscribe, leave a comment, share the YouTube link with a friend once we're done. We're doing this to create value for you guys and ask questions, participate. So this could be the most inclusive webinar yet.
Cool. If you share, first of all, hello to everybody. Second of all, thank you for the support. Third of all, if you share and you share this with your friends and you repost and you come to the event, Henry's offering a one-time walkthrough with anyone on this webinar through any one of your properties. He will go walk it through with you.
I'll do that.
I will not be there, but Henry will be there.
I'm
kidding. I'll go too. I'll go too.
But I'll do it.
I've definitely been on the spot.
Park flip,
and this is recorded. This is recorded. So the day and age that we live in, somebody's gonna be like, "Well, you said it. It's right here. I have it on video."
Call me out on it at the live event on Thursday. We'll walk my Oakland flip, and I'll show you guys what a $80,000 rehab looks like. So
you can walk some of my properties too. And in all seriousness, if you do share it and you do all that, and I see that you do it, I will personally hop on a phone call with you. And you can ask me anything you want, 30 minutes, and I'll help you as best as I can. So I'm willing to do that.
Love it. The gift that keeps on giving. Will.
The gift that keeps on giving. It's for the kids, man. It's for the kids.
All right. So before we get into content, I'm going to drop the link to our event on Thursday. Make sure you guys click that Eventbrite link and you RSVP for our live event on Thursday. I'm also going to leave our Instagram handles so you check us out. And the numbers are good to go. Will, what are we going to talk about today?
A lot. So obviously Thursday, 6:30, right?
Yes, sir.
6:30. The webinars are at 6. The event's at 6:30. So 6:30 at the Alluvion, downtown Fort Lauderdale. We're expecting to have anywhere from 50 to 70 people-ish. It's going to be a networking event, meetup, whatever you want to call it, live Q&A. We will be talking about if you're getting started. We'll be talking about if you scale, if you want to scale, how to scale, best ways to scale, etc. Anything to do with the word scale. And also, if you're just getting started, how to start. It's one of the hardest things, right, is how to get something started. Is there a right way? Is there not a right way? The real answer is there's not a right way to get started by any means. So the best way to get started is to get started and to do shit. So that's always been my opinion. That's how I've done it. I actually had a call earlier today with a young kid. I say he's a kid because I'm 31, he's 20. And he's just hustling and sending me properties and properties and properties. The kid's in New York. And I finally just hopped on a call with him because he was just, you could tell he was kind of figuring out what to do on the fly, but he just kept bringing me opportunities. And I respect that. I actually respect the hustle. And I told him, I was like, give me a call. I walked him through some stuff and I said, look, you bring me deals, I'll help you out. I'll coach you because I respect what you're doing. And I once upon a time did that. But he told me, he's like, I've started watching YouTubes. I've watched some webinars and I've been doing this for about 2 months. And at my job, I have a full-time job. On my spare time, all I do is cold call sellers and realtors. And I'm like, dude, you're winning 95% of the battle right there because most people have, paralysis by analysis. And this kid is not. He's 20 years old. He's like, I heard about this wholesaling thing. I'm off. I'm running. Let's do it. So that's kind of, some food for thought there. But do we have any questions going into this?
Well, I like this. I like where this is going with the getting started thing. So you and I have a different story as to how we did our first deal. I was a flipper first before I got into wholesaling. So let's talk about how it is. I know. But let's talk about how you did your first deal, and then I'll share my story and
how I did my first deal. Completely.
Our first real estate deal, whether it was a flip or a wholesale.
completely ass backwards. But it got me to where I am today. The way that I got started was I was fired from my corporate America job. I was listening to a podcast while putting up bandit signs. And I heard this guy that was in Miami that was on the podcast. This is late 2016, early 2017. And I heard the podcast like 3 times. Long story short, I cold called his office because he left his office contact information. I lied to his secretary. I got on the phone with him. And once I got on the phone with him, the first thing that came out of my mouth was, hey, you don't know who I am. Please don't hang up the phone. If you teach me how to do this business, I'll split my first 5 deals with you 50-50. And there was like a moment of silence. And I thought he hung up the phone, to be honest.
Right.
But what he actually said was, yeah, sure. Can you come in tomorrow at 11? I went to his office. Boom, boom. Next thing you know, 91 days later, we had done 5 deals. But yeah, my first deal ended up in a lawsuit, and I didn't close it for a year and a half. That was literally my first contract ever signed. If I recall correctly, I think it was 7398 North Saratoga Drive in Cooper City. I still can recall that address because it hurt. It hurt. It was like a 30K deal.
And you guys closed it and you made 30K on it.
A year and a half later. But anyway, whatever. If it was today, I would have gotten it, worked out much sooner. But it was actually a really, really good rehab deal. But it was a 30K wholesale at the time. So it was my second appointment ever. And I remember saying to myself, I walked away. I was there with the sellers for like 5 hours. I got the contract signed. They signed in the wrong spot. I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't even put an escrow. I didn't know how to walk them through the contract. I had no idea what I was doing. I was so nervous. My ears, when I get nervous or when I get excited, my ears get bright red, like they kind of are right now.
Blood pressure.
I'm excited. Yeah, my blood pressure goes through the roof. And dude, I was so nervous that I was answering these people's questions. And I remember at one point, the guy asked me a question about the escrow or the inspection. And I must have just said, like that must have sounded like what it was to come out of my mouth. And whatever, the guy was like, okay. And he just signed. But I thought I had made 30K, second appointment in. I was like, I don't know, 5 weeks into the business. I was like, holy shit, I'm a stud. I'm going to make 30K. And then they backed out. And then it was a list pendants for a year and a half. So yeah. And then it was like another 60 days to the real first deal that was like an 11K wholesale deal, which, that was everything for me. But I say that story not just to say where I started, but I say that story because how you start and what you think is going to happen and what actually happened. There's an expression that I love that it says humans make plans and God just laughs. That is a fact. The only time that plans work is in the fucking planning room. That's exactly the only time that plans work perfectly. So I hear this all the time from newer people or people that want to scale. And they're like, man, where do I get started? What do I do? What if this? What if that? Well, this happened to me. And da, da, da. Listen, I just told you, I cold called my way into someone's office. I bullshitted my way in there.
You provided value, bro. You didn't tell him,
I provided value.
Coffee. I want to pick your brain for an hour.
No.
I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get 5 deals and I'm going to JV with you. And he saw something in you that was like, all right, I like this guy.
I will say this. Chiming into your point, tenacity and definitiveness. You can, you can call it whatever you want, but the reality is, if you, and I didn't know this at the time, and we won't get really into the whole hokey pokey law of attraction thing, but at the time, I didn't know what the hell the law of attraction was or anything like that. Now I'm like, I've read a lot of books, I've gone to a lot of seminars, I understand the universe and the law of attraction and the frequency and vibrating and all that stuff. But at the time, what I had really done, I got fired. So I felt like, damn, I was a corporate America guy. I went to college, did the whole thing, went to New York, got fired, came back. Now I'm living at home with my mom. So my thing was, dude, like in deep down, I made a decision. I was like, I will never fucking be here again. And I don't care what it takes. I'm going to do it. Like one way or another, I will die before this doesn't work out. So like that was my intention. And some people aren't that, aggressive or whatever, passionate. I am a very aggressive, passionate person, but that's just how I did it.
Nobody else noticed that.
Yeah, nobody, right? Everybody's probably like, oh my God, I got to turn my volume down with this guy. But the reality is I approach everything that way. I really do, because that definitiveness, whether it's a seller or a mentor or a buyer or a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever it is, anything you want in life, if you approach it with that level of clarity and intent, dude, everyone's going to move out of your way and things are just going to pop up and the universe is just going to send you opportunity. And that's just what it was for me. So I approached it that way, and I almost gave him no option. If you notice my conversation, it was like I would call it today, assuming the close. I assumed the close. I was like, hey, dude, I'm going to split my first 5 deals with you 50-50. Like one way or another.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, if he didn't answer me, or if he would have told me, hey, go fly a kite, guess what I would have done? The next day, I would have showed up to his office. I would have waited there at 6 a.m., standing outside, and he would have been like, who the hell are you? And I'm going to be like, I'm the guy you hung up on. So I'm here now, and you can't say no to me because I'm face-to-face now. Because that's just the level of, like, that's where I'm willing to go. You know what I'm saying? How did you get started?
Dude, so I started fix and flipping. I went to a course, and I went to a course, right? I ended up getting a cold call. Hey, we need a local realtor to drive a bunch of buyers through their properties. So, okay, whatever. This sounds like a scam, but whatever. It's a Saturday. I'll just cancel going out with my friends and I'll show up to see what this is about.
I love it.
Turns out it's a bus tour and we're going to properties and we're basically learning how to fix and flip. I'm in this bus full of 50 guys that paid $20,000 to be on that bus tour for free, bro. Like, talk about luck.
For the record, it was not my bus tour. I just saying for the people. It wasn't mine.
Armando Montenegro was the name of the guy. I don't even know if he's still around.
Oh yeah, dude, that guy got into so many laws. Anyway, that's a whole nother story.
All right, well, I went on his bus tour, and the whole time that I'm listening to these guys teach other people how to flip, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm gonna make a real estate commission by selling one of these cash buyers a deal. I'm thinking, if these guys can flip, I could flip. So yeah, dude, that day I got home after learning all that. I made a list of everyone that I knew with money. On Monday, I started cold calling everybody that I knew with money. The third guy on my list said, yes, I'll meet with you. So he met with me. Long story short, I asked him, lend me some money. He said, I'm not going to lend it to you, but I'll partner up with you. I thought I was an expert because I was a real estate agent that had probably sold 5 properties in my life. But I don't know. I guess I convinced them to partner up with me. We're still partners till today. We've done hundreds of deals already, and yeah, that's basically how it started, man. It's actually going out there and doing shit. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. We'd go see 6 properties, 7 properties every single day. It was the biggest waste of time you could imagine, bro. Like, I'd go see a property that was listed for $300K, go see it, walk it, take my contractors there, send videos to my contractors, create an estimate, and then call the realtor and be like, hey, I'll offer you $200,000 for it. Obviously, I wasn't getting anywhere. No. But I went out there and I just did shit for no reason. And eventually, I figured out a system. I met some wholesalers. And then once we'd done a couple flips, I started the wholesale business with a little bit of capital because I had already successfully flipped a couple homes. But
so here's the moral of the story for anybody watching. He started, is it that way? He started because it's opposite. He started in a very different fashion than I started. I started in a very different fashion than he started. But the similarity and the common theme in both of our stories was that we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We were moving and we were doing something every day. And that something, wrong, right, whatever, led us to the next thing and led us to the next opportunity. And when we were presented with adversity or a problem or whatever, went right through it. That's the whole point.
Dude,
that's it.
This one quote, what you focus on expands.
Yep.
We became obsessed with our goal. We made our goal very, very clear. We're very intentional about our actions, even if we didn't know what we were doing was the correct thing. But we went out there, we did it, and we asked questions later. And that's what separates doers from people that just analyze and sit on the sidelines for the rest of their life.
Dude, my first year in real estate, I don't even know how, but I ended up actually negotiating a 16-unit multifamily deal with owner financing, raised the money, $300K down payment that I did not have, off market. Till this day, I don't know how the hell I did it. And I ended up closing on it, and I bought them, and then I refied them, and it was a big, big deal for me. And I cash flowed them. I had bad tenants. I mean, it was in Hollywood. I ended up selling them like at the height of COVID because the values were I bought them in 2017.
Mhm.
I had no business. I had no business. I didn't know what the hell a cap rate was. I don't know what anything was. I got thrusted into 16 units. I started having to manually evict people. I figured out how to collect rents, how to not. I was the guy going and checking on the toilets in the middle of. I did everything. I did it. Now I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, but at the time I was 25 and I was like, sure, but like somebody, I think that you need to have some degree of insanity, if you will, to be an entrepreneur. Where I don't care. I mean, you could have told me it was a 100-unit deal. I'd be like, all right, great. I'll just figure it out. I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. But I did, and the whole point is that's how you got to approach things. And if you do that, it's 95% better than what anybody else is gonna do right off the bat.
And people will tell you you got lucky, but you didn't get lucky. You put yourself in that situation to get lucky by getting out there and fucking doing it.
There's no such thing as luck. So anyone who's listening to this, I cannot stand when people say, "Oh, you got lucky," or "Oh, beginner's luck." Listen, preparation meets opportunity. You call it luck. I call it being fucking ready.
The harder I work, the luckier I get. It's direct correlation.
Never fails. Never fails.
All right, so let's start with some questions. We got Daniel. He's got some questions about mailing. So just sent 5K postcards in Broward 2 weeks ago. Received only about 10 calls. I used PropStream to build my list. Should I use PropStream on this source?
I will answer this one if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So, a couple things. 5,000 postcards is not a lot. Okay, just in the grand scheme of things. Just saying. I don't know what list you pulled, so it'd be great to know that. I would definitely use ListSource above PropStream. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, not much, but I've found it's a much better data source than PropStream. But 10 calls on 5,000 postcards, it's about right. About right. It's less than 0.5% response. But here's the thing about direct mail. Direct mail is something, and I talk about this.
So he has follow-up questions, and keep going.
Yeah, so like direct mail, of all the marketing channel, all marketing needs to be consistent. You can't just do one action one time and then be like, oh, this crap didn't work. It needs to be consistent. So with direct mail, my best recommendation would be stick to 90 days or 120 days, really, of consistent marketing. And I promise you, year over year, you're going to get deals. It's only a matter of time. But the sample size of 5,000 postcards in today's world, like when I first started, I started with direct mail, believe it or not, and I almost bankrupted myself. But that was back in 2017. It was a lot less saturated. It was not as competitive. So 10,000 postcards was going a long way. Today, it might not be, unless you're mailing like a very targeted niche list. That's a whole nother subject.
So Daniel, that's one question that I would ask is what list were you pulling? And are you sure you were stacking at least, I don't know, 2 pain points on top of like absentee high equity, something like that? Because you could do some very inefficient marketing if you don't get a very, very niche list. What works best in your opinion? Postcards or letters? What's a good company to send them? Price per mailer? What's a normal good response rate? What's a good conversion rate?
All right, so Daniel, I appreciate the tenacity. That's 5 questions in one, my man.
Oh, he's got more.
But I like it.
Good. That's what we're here for, guys. That is what we're here for.
Exactly. That's what the buzzer's for. But look, I'm going to address it piece by piece. I do a lot of direct mail, so I've been doing it for a lot of years. Yeah. So I'm pretty well versed in the subject. So what works best, in your opinion, postcards or letters? That's a very simple answer. 2 different types of sellers, 2 different types of leads is what's going to come in. Letters are going to get a far less response, higher quality seller overall. Totally different conversation. More of a professional seller, more of a serious seller, totally different. Postcards, more waste of time, some golden nugget sellers in there. Totally different. And just think about it logically. Somebody's getting a letter, they look at it, it's professional, it's nice, they're going to call that. If you call on one of these, which is totally different, I mean, you're in a totally different headspace. These are 2 different postcards, right? You're in a totally different headspace to call one of these postcards, right? So that's one. What's a good company to send them? My buddy Justin owns Open Letter Marketing. I've been mailing with him for 3.5 years. Amazing. The cost per postcard, depending on what postcard you use, usually about 38, 39 cents. First class mail, big golden nugget for anybody on this thing doing direct mail. If you do not do first class mail, you might as well grab your postcard and light it on fire. Light your money on fire. It's not going anywhere. When you don't do first class mail, guess what happens to it? It gets sorted in mass mail. It could take up to 35 days for that thing to hit. So there's no consistency in your business. A lot of lost mail, by the way. What's a normal or good response rate? That, my friend, is the wrong question. The question you should be asking is, what is the good ROI, not a response rate? Mail, everybody wants to track response rate. Response rate is a byproduct of a KPI. I used to track response rates. 1% is the industry standard. Right about now, it's probably less than 1%. That's the industry standard. But the response rate doesn't matter to me. What I care about is how much ROI, how much return on investment can I get? Because if I mail out 100,000 postcards and I tell you, hey, you're going to have less than a 1% response rate, that's trash. So you're probably not going to do it, right? But if I told you 100,000 postcards can make you $300,000 and you have to spend 40 grand to do it, would you spend 40 to make 300? No brainer, right? So track your ROI. What's a good conversion rate? I'm just gonna make sure that I understand what the question is. You mean how many postcards to how many deals you get?
I would assume it's leads to a deal.
Leads to a deal. That's a really tough thing to say.
That's how you track conversion, right?
Yeah, technically, yeah. It's no. It could be, if I wanted to track conversion, like how many leads can I get for how many pieces, and then how many leads did it take me to convert to a deal, to a contract, really, and then how many contracts did it take to convert to a deal? Remember, these are all different conversions.
Correct.
Every single one. So it doesn't matter to me, hey, what?
He meant leads to deal. He just put that on the comment.
It's tough to say, man. That's so variant depending on pieces, depending on how, what campaign number you're on. Is it a postcard? Is it a letter? Is it a Google postcard? Is it a fancy letter? I mean, it's a lot of stuff. Right now, it's very competitive. I would probably say 1 in 30 is probably solid.
Yeah, which is like 4 times better than cold call, where right now, dude, I'm at like 120 to 1 on cold call.
Right. But again, do your numbers simply. If the average cost per lead is $200, fair?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say that you got 50 leads. So it cost you 10 grand, right? Cool. If 10 grand is what that cost you, but the deal was 40K,
then what? Yeah, your ROI is
good. That's a 4x return. It's a 400% return on investment.
Correct.
Next question.
Correct. So the last one we got so far, should you send the same list a few times, or is it better to get a new list every time? Tell them what.
No. Consistency. I refresh my list probably every 60 to 75 days. Now,
how many times are you touching the same seller, and how frequently are you touching this guy?
I'm gonna mail them till the dawn of time. If they still pop up in my list, they're gonna get mailed. In reality, you should be mailing to have a good sample size and to have good metrics. You should be mailing the seller for 120 days, at bare minimum 90 days.
Once every other week. I mean, that's what I was doing. I was doing once every other week for 120 days, same seller. That was the goal.
So like where we're at right now is about 150,000 postcards every month, and we mail that every month, and they get batched. So the last part of the list, so they get batched up. The last part of the list gets mailed last. You feel me? They're not gonna get mailed first again on the first week. So, but I have a team and all that. So yes, but when I was a smaller operator, I would do like 20,000, 30,000, even 40,000. And I would do 20,000 week 1, 20,000 week 3. The week in between was for follow-ups, stragglers, closing deals, all that. And then week 3, it would hit again. Week 4 was follow-up, stragglers, etc.
Right. So, dude, I know Daniel, and I'm not 100% sure because I'm only seeing the questions here. But let's say I'm a fix and flipper. I only do Broward County. I'm having a hard time finding deals from wholesalers. So I decided to do a small marketing campaign to try to feed myself flips, right? this is kind of where I was the last time I spoke to them. This is the feedback I got. So how would you filter that list, and how big do you think that list needs to be so he can pick up a couple clips?
I didn't catch the last part of what you said. How big do you think the list should be, and what?
Correct. So just so that he could pick up a couple deals in the areas that he wants to buy. You know what I mean? So I'm a buyer. I fix and flip only in Broward. How big of a list should I mail? And remember, my exit strategy is if I get this property under contract, I want to flip it myself. So how would you make that list?
That's that's not a fair question to ask, because I don't know how big your team is and how much bandwidth you can take.
Well, it's to flip the property yourself, you know?
Like, no, I hear you, but is he a one-man band, or does he have a team of acquisition reps?
No, just one person.
One person, you should easily be able to mail out 40,000 postcards a month.
Yeah, because you're going to get, what, 40 leads-ish?
Hopefully more, but over time, yes.
Right, off rip, you're going to get 40. But that's like, I mean, if you stagger them, maybe you'll get like 5 calls the day that they land, and then another 5 calls the day after, and like that, you know?
That's where batching comes into play. So look, if you batch too small every week, it's not gonna have the result that you want. If you batch too big, you're gonna get inundated and you're gonna get flooded. So there's a happy medium. So if it's like 40,000, what I would do is 20,000 week 1, 20,000 week 3. Take the weeks in between to do follow-up, to go on appointments, the stragglers. So you're gonna have a big. So this is the way direct mail works. You mail out on Wednesday. Let's say, boom, you send them your list. You say, hey, Wednesday, I paid. That's probably going to hit. It's going to take off. It's going to ship on Friday. It's probably going to be first-class mail Monday, Tuesday of the next week. It's going to go like this. No calls. It's going to spike. You're going to get a bunch of calls right off the bat. By Friday, Saturday, you're going to be like this, and you're kind of going to be teetering down, down, down. Next week, you're going to get like 1 call, another call, another call. And then that's when you do all your follow-ups. That's when you get. And then the 3rd week, boom, it's going to go boop, and it's going to take up again, etc.
Yeah, so something super important that Will just touched on is the follow-up. Dude, you guys are going to miss calls, and there's going to be people that they caught you on the wrong time or whatever. And just because it's a direct mail lead doesn't mean it's a 1-call close. Like, this is still somebody you need to touch 5-6 times on average to get them under contract. So make sure you're using a call reel number or some type of tracking system. So one, you could A/B test your postcards. So like when I send postcards, I have 2 postcards. One that's a picture, it's literally a picture of me and my dog. And then the other one is the Google Street View. And I A/B test them to see how people respond. And I drop batches differently to the same list, right? To see which postcard image responds better. Whichever one responds better, I keep. If one doesn't, I drop and I try better. And you use call rail to make sure that you register every lead that comes in, and you're following up with them in a timely manner if you don't have your CRM set up to do so.
Here's the deal. He's 100% right. 100%. You should be batching your campaigns separately, by the way. So let's say this is how I've mailed for years. If I have a Broward list, a Miami-Dade list, and a Palm Beach list, each one of those lists, each one of those counties is going to get a different number. And then, not to make it too complicated, but let's say I have tax delinquent Miami-Dade, tax delinquent Broward, tax delinquent Palm Beach. Then I have non-owner occupied Miami-Dade, non-owner occupied Palm Beach, non-owner occupied Broward. All those sub-lists are going to get their own tracking number because I want to see what trigger is performing best. But the best performing list of all time, is consistency. That's it. That's the best performing list of all time. That's what you need to do. However, if I was starting again, non-owner occupied, some equity, out of state.
Yeah. And there's no magic list. Like, there's no magic amount of touches either. You stop touching it when you stop getting responses. You know, you have to play it by ear. You
want to be like a ninja. You want to be everywhere at all times at any given time. Ready to strike, ready to attack, but you're there. So the more that you can stay in someone's face, the better.
There you go. All right. Kadir's asking, something better than cold calling, website. Thank you for the webinars. Thank you for joining, bro.
Thank you, Kadir.
I mean, cold calling and SMS, the reason why those are such great marketing channels is because the barrier of entry is so low. You know, you could start and you could do a lot of volume with little money. So I personally love cold calling. That's my number one channel. But aside from cold calling, I would say PPC has been great for me. The thing about PPC is, one, you need to develop a very good website because competition for conversion is getting tougher and tougher and tougher. So you want to develop a very good website. You're going to have multiple landing pages to make sure you could A/B test. Same thing with the postcard. Every marketing that you do, you have to A/B test. You know, so you're going to have one landing page that's set up a certain way, one landing page that's set up a different way, and see which one converts better and keep tweaking it as you go. So things to think about. You need to have developers on hand for that. And to see any traction in PPC, especially in a competitive market like Miami, Tampa, Florida, you're going to be spending 10 grand a month, and you better have the minimum just to get maybe 50 leads a month.
Yeah.
But you need to have a team that's freaking A1, because those leads are extremely expensive and they better
to lead. Remember, if you're going to go venture into the PPC pool, remember these words: speed to lead. Speed to lead. That's key. How fast can you get to that lead? How fast can you literally pick up the phone? And by that, I mean literally sub 5 minutes. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, the metric is 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes from the moment the lead came into your CRM to get that person on the phone. And our system to attack these leads, you look at it and you'll think these people are freaking nuts. But you're calling them 3 times back to back. You're leaving a voicemail. You're texting them. You're waiting 20 minutes. You're calling them 3 times back to back from a different number. You're texting them. You're leaving a voicemail. And you're going to put them in the back burner. Before you leave the office that day, you're calling them 3 times back to back. You're leaving a voicemail and you're texting them. And you're going to put them through 7 days of hell, where 3 times a day, you're calling them 3 times back to back. You're texting them and you're leaving a voicemail. 7 days straight.
I just want to point out that Henry has stolen a trademark phrase from me, which is 10 days of hell, and he's now made it 7. But anyway,
it's 10 days of hell.
It's 10 days. I've been saying that for 4 years, but anyway, that's neither here nor there.
My bad. I know I heard it from somewhere, bro.
Just saying it was out there.
Yeah, but we do 7 days before we put them in a cold follow-up. But that's exactly how you should treat PPC leads, like a psycho ex-girlfriend.
Yep. It's the best. There's no better analogy.
Yeah.
There's no better analogy.
That's how you treat them. And you mail them, you show up to their house, you knock on the door, you do whatever it takes to get that person on the phone, because it's a very, very hot lead. And believe it or not, when somebody becomes a PPC lead, they pull out their computer, they go on Google, and they put "sell my house for cash." They click on your website, they fill out the form, and they press back. They click on another website, fill out the form.
Yep.
Back. Click on
Same
another
thing,
website.
by the way. Sorry, but same thing, by the way, with direct mail. When they're calling you, they got a stack of these things, and they're calling. I, till this day, because I own some property, like to just see where the competition is at. And I call postcards randomly sometimes, like myself. And I just, bloop, and I pick up the phone. I am blown away by how many freaking lazy people there are out there that at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday, no one's answering the goddamn phone. It blows me away. And they never reach back out to me. And I'm like, man, no offense, you just suck. Like, if you're spending that amount of money, dude, when I was like a one-man band, bro, my phone was like glued, duct taped to my face. I would just beat 24/7. I would answer the phone. I remember taking calls at 11 o'clock at night. 11 o'clock at night. Some of the best deals I ever got. You know why? Because nobody else was answering. That's why. I've been a realtor for a while and wanted to switch to wholesale. Cold call, what's the best way to start? System, how to obtain leads. What's the best old houses with equity, probate, foreclosure? Yeah, so first of all, Kadir, excellent question. And I think it's a great switch. I see a lot of really good realtors that should be in wholesaling. If I had the choice, become a realtor or become a wholesaler, I'd become a wholesaler. 100%. First of all, you can make a lot more money. Second of all, it's more fun. Third of all, you're not, you don't have the DBPR on top of you, like, watching everything you do. I don't like anybody telling me what to do. So that's first. Cold calling, what's the best way to start? Get yourself a triple line dialer. You can go with Mojo, batch leads. I mean, there's like 10 different
tools. I like call tools.
Call tools. There's a bunch of them. It's a couple $100 a month. They record them. And they record all your calls so you can audit them. No problem. You can dial 3 lines at the same time. You should not be doing single line dialing at all. Don't be that person who does single line dialing. And for the love of God, do not hand dial. Please. My team's going to run circles around you. So I'm just giving you some friendly advice.
So you guys understand the triple line? Like, explain that. It's yes. 3 calls at a time.
Yes. So just imagine if you could grab 3 phones at the same time and dial different people's numbers robotically, and it goes, and if this person doesn't answer, boop, it dials another one. If this person, boop, it dials another one. And then the second that one person answers, boom, it connects that one and it hangs up the other 2 lines. And then it'll call back the other line. So if 2 people answer at the same time, by a microsecond, it'll go to this one and then it'll call back the next one. You can dial, hear me closely, when I was first starting out, I used to dial 1,000 to 1,500 people a day. I was putting up some serious numbers. And then people.
How many hours were you on the dialer to do that?
Bro, I was on the dialer for like 8 hours, 10 hours a day.
And you were cold calling a list that you pulled yourself.
So I was cold calling, brother, you couldn't, when I didn't know what the hell I was doing, I was cold calling anything that had a number attached to it. But then as I got better, it was non-owner occupied and all that. And I just started, dude, what I'm trying to say and convey.
All right, but let's give Kadir some better advice than call anybody with the number.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
You want to have a more niche list. So
absentee owners. Okay. Pre-foreclosure is a phenomenal list right now. It's hitting hard. Okay. A lot of people were in forbearance. Now they're not. They got big problems that are coming up. Okay. So foreclosure, tax, look, pre-foreclosure, here's your medicine. Pre-foreclosure, tax delinquent, absentee owner. Stick to that. You'll make so much money you don't even know what to do with it. How to obtain leads? You cold call them or you text them. Launch Control is a great texting platform. And I think we answered the last question.
Yeah, so if I were a realtor that's trying to do this by myself, I would have automatic text system like Launch Control, sending 1,000 texts a day minimum. And I would be on a triple line dialer for 5 hours a day, just hammering cold calls. And you'll be producing enough leads for yourself to handle. And you're going to be able to service those leads a lot better than a big operator like Will and I will be able to service those cold calls. So 100%. That's your advantage. Go out there, see the person, sit down with the lady and have a tea at her house. Use your size to your advantage. So I would definitely, that would be my advice. And into the investment game as a realtor, dude, if half the realtors knew the shit that wholesalers knew, they would make so much money.
Yep.
Everybody.
I love converting. By the way, I love converting realtors to wholesalers to work for me. I love it. Or to partner with me and bring me JP deals. I love teaching realtors how to do this shit. Especially picking deals off of the MLS because they're like, you can do that?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah.
I can make more than just my 3%. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Big time. And if you got a little bit of money or if you got a network, dude, source deals for investors, you will print money. You will print money, and then you can list them again and flip them.
Who better to raise capital than a realtor that has a bunch of a CRM full of clients that buys houses?
Mm-hmm.
If you get that client and instead of advising them to go buy a pre-construction at Lennar, like everyone wants to do because it's so simple, and you advise them correctly to invest their money into, I don't know, maybe a flip or a cash flowing asset, they are going to be raving about you. And if you don't do that, if you don't understand the investment side of the game. So I think realtors have a lot to learn from the investment side. And I love when realtors show interest in this because they have an advantage. They already understand the game. They have MLS. They know more about real estate than
and also you have an infinite supply in a marketplace, which is called the MLS. Every day I wake up till this day, I get excited like a little kid on Christmas. Because guess what I know? There's more new inventory on the goddamn MLS. Every day. And I don't have to do anything. It just pops up every time I refresh it. New deals. Everywhere. Everywhere. My girlfriend just locked one up today off the MLS. It's unbelievable.
Dude, we locked one up yesterday off the MLS in Tampa. We're wholesaling it for a 20K fee. Well, haven't assigned it yet, but I'm pretty confident.
Don't count
That's on the MLS.
Money on this call. Don't count your money until you have the escrow in. But anyway.
Yeah, very important. Very important. All right, guys. So talking about converting realtors, about to hit the 40-minute mark. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I want you guys to know education is everywhere. I'm going to drop the Calendly link right now so you guys could book a 15-minute discovery call with Will and I if you want to understand more about our coaching program or how we could teach you more about real estate. Completely free. Just jump on the call. Worst case, we give you some advice. And yes, we do have a coaching program for people that want to learn more about wholesaling. On another note, the event is on Thursday, 2 days away. Live event. Literally come up to us, ask us all the questions you want. We're going to be there for 3 hours or more. I'd love to see you guys there. Take your friends, take your neighbor, your dog, whatever. I'll see you guys at the Alluvion in Fort Lauderdale. Finally, this YouTube channel is sure you like, that you subscribe, you share it, and dude, I appreciate everyone hopping on. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate everybody here. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Thursday. I'm gonna go off on Thursday, so I'm excited. And yeah, it'll be downtown Fort Lauderdale. You can ask anything you want, from really beginner to super high level to scaling to any mindset I mean, anything, any topic is up for grabs. We will have live Q&A. We will do live deal review if we can. We'll be talking about what we do, what we don't do, what we've learned, how I've made millions of dollars, how I've lost millions of dollars, vice versa.
We're not going to teach the lost part.
I'm going to teach you how to not lose millions of dollars. That's the case. Mistakes that I've made. I've always valued education at an extremely high level, and that's probably one of the major reasons why I'm at where I'm at today in such a relatively short period of time. So definitely being in rooms like that, unbelievable. All
right, guys, appreciate you. See you on Thursday. Will, thank you like always. Signing off. I will see you guys Thursday.
Likewise, guys. Take care.